Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Hope you had some lovely vegan food for lunch. So, just like to introduce you to vegan geezer Martin Mehenan. Martin's a London dad and a vegan YouTube advocate with over 15,000 followers now.
I'm going to say kids then.
Known as Vegan Geezer. He's been speaking around the UK for the past year. Probably longer than that now, isn't it? Yeah, near two. At schools and festivals, educating people about veganism and positively promoting vegan advocacy. So how can we share the message, basically? He creates a number of inspirational and educational videos via his YouTube channel, and that includes a lot of vegan stuff, it's a lot of family stuff as well. And today he's going to be exploring how veganism has become established within the mainstream and how can we best represent veganism. So, big hand for Martin Mehenan.
I've messed up my whole introduction. As Steve very kindly said, I'm Martin, or some people may know me as Bob, it's a nickname. And I've been vegan for 3 years, I've got 3 vegan kids, and as a vegan dad, I mostly promote veganism on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I do talks at schools as well, around the country, or any other educational facilities. And I also do talks at festivals as well. I like to try and speak to vegans to empower and inspire as well. And what I'm going to be talking to you today is about the things that I've noticed that have developed in the vegan community and in the vegan movement over the last year. This is all just from my perspective. I'm not saying I'm 100% right on everything. Everyone has a different opinion, different perspective. This is just what I've noticed. But ultimately, my aim is to inspire the most positive progression of this movement. So starting with some of the obvious and some of the positives that we've seen in the UK especially, this stat stands out, 360% increase in 10 years of vegans in the UK. Now, they're saying there are about 542,000 vegans in the UK. Who here took the survey or knows anyone that took the survey? Only a few. Exactly. Times I've done this talk and it's literally been 1, 2, if any. So my feeling is there's probably close to 1 million, maybe even more in the UK. It definitely feels that way when you see what's going on around us. The amount of vegan restaurants which are popping up everywhere now. The amount of non-vegan restaurants which are doing more vegan options or even vegan menus. And the amount of festivals there are. I mean, you do well to find a weekend in the UK when there isn't a festival nowadays. There are 4 today alone. That shows how popular it's got. And we've seen a lot in the campaigns in the UK as well. Veganuary, they had 2,000 posters on the London Underground promoting veganism. Peter had 1 tube station, changed all of its 60 posters to posters promoting veganism. And then you had the Go Vegan World campaign, really provocative, direct message on posters on billboards, buses and bus stops. And for me, it's just the fact that the mainstream has allowed this to be out in society is a huge step in the right direction. And even in the 3 years that I've been vegan, it's not a long time, I've just noticed general attitudes change. I remember there used to be a time, not that long ago, where people would be like, oh, vegan, so you eat fish? And you'd be like, no. And they'd be like, cheese? And you'd be like, no. Now it's kind of like, oh, vegan. So they kind of know what it is. They don't love it completely, but they're accepting and they're recognising it. So that's a real step in the right direction. We've also seen, with more vegans out, a huge increase in activism. People, more demos happening, more protests, more attendance at them. We had the UK Animal Rights March, the first one ever, in London last year, with over 2,000 people walking through London, protesting animal exploitation. It was a real positive day to kind of get out there and everyone to come together. And we're seeing new forms of activism come about as well. The Save movement, a good example of this. This will involve people standing outside of a slaughterhouse, protesting, showing the public a direct opposition to what's going on inside. And many people may not even know in these cases that that building exists and what goes on there. And I feel that this has brought a new dynamic, especially as it's sharing this on social media. It's getting out and spreading the awareness. A lot of people have not found out about this before, and the fact that it's getting out to the public is a step in the right direction, I feel. And also as well, with more vegans, I feel that we're probably getting a bit more confident in our resolve. Whereas maybe before, when there was less a number, we maybe felt more isolated. Now we feel more confident to be direct and question others when maybe we weren't before. And this newfound confidence, when focused in the right way, I feel can have the most amazing effects and the most amazing results. On the flip side of that, if maybe it's not focusing what I perceive as the best way, it can be potentially detrimental to people. Now let me stress, any ways that I would consider negative ways of sharing the vegan message, I feel that represents only a small percentage of the community. However, when people have been conditioned, like we all were, when you've been conditioned to think veganism is something that's not right for humans and it's extreme, if someone is negative to you when they communicate to you, it gives them a reason not to be vegan. That's what it kind of justifies for them. And that's probably why a lot of people are still stereotyping vegans with the same name, with the same words. We still hear the same associated words like vegans are all extreme, they're hippies, they're militant, they're angry, they're rude, oh, they're always so mean. And ideally, we want to change that. We want people to know what the truth is. We want people to see how amazing and beneficial this lifestyle is. So my question would be then, why would we ever be negative? Now, I think to really understand this, we have to look at why we go vegan and see exactly what goes on in that process. So take your typical story. Most people will probably have this, that you watch a video that has graphic footage coupled with the information on the environment and maybe the health, and bang, you just snap out and you're like, whoa, I've just woke up to this horrible reality that's happening around me. But not only that, waking up to the fact that you can contribute to that unconsciously. That's a lot to take. We know how that feels. You feel upset, you feel shocked. It's quite a traumatic experience. And you have all of these emotions which tend to come out in one reaction. That's anger. Now, who knows who this is? Now this is my son Jojo. He's not actually angry, you know, he's just being him, being silly. And for those of you who've seen my videos or met him in real life, you all know that he is your typical 5-year-old boy. He's caring, he's silly, he's innocent, he's considerate. He's pretty much, you know, the representation of our human nature. Pretty much how we were all brought up and how we all were from the beginning. I'm going to tell you a little story about Jojo, which really taught me about what kind of goes on with us when we do maybe act out in anger. So one day, I'm editing a video, and Jojo happens to see a clip over my shoulder, and it's a clip of a man stopping a slaughterhouse truck. So of course, he's like, Daddy, what's he doing? Now I always tell him the truth about these things. I don't have to show him it, graphic footage or anything like that. So I tell him, well, this truck's got lots of pigs in it, and they're going to go into this place and they're going to chop their bodies up because people want to eat part of their bodies. And obviously this man wants to stop that from happening. And he's processed this for a minute. And then he comes out and says, you should take all of those pigs out, take the driver out, and smash that truck up. And I was like, whoa, Jojo, where did this come from? Me and my wife, we couldn't figure it out. We were like, you know, we've always encouraged him to be loving, tolerant, considerate of other people's lives. Where's this come from? But then we stepped back and evaluated and realised, if our 5-year-old son, who we know is innocent, who we know is as close to that human nature we are all born with as possible, if he's acting that way, then it must be a natural reaction for us to act, even as adults. And I thought, but why would it? Well, because despite what people will try and convince us, all of this happening around the world, it shouldn't exist in our reality. And because it shouldn't exist in our reality, we are not designed with any form of coping mechanism to deal with it. We're not. There's no manual of how to deal with that. Think about grief. Grief of when you lose a family member or a friend that's close to you. The only thing, if anything, that makes that feel easier is the distance from when it happened. Time being the healer. But with this happening on such a large scale, every single second, all around the world, in the most atrocious ways, and with seemingly no end, then there is no time to be a healer. There is no way to process it. So of course, we act out in uncontrolled ways of frustration, anger, wanting to attack people, wanting to scream at people. That's completely understandable. That is our own coping mechanism, which we've just had to make up on the spot. And so we're stuck with this feeling of what do we do? How do we make this stop? How do we make this pain end for the animals, for us, for everyone? And so logically, it feels like getting out and spreading the message and some form of activism is the solution. Now, there are many different forms of activism. These are just a few that I'll go over briefly. But you've got the more direct ones, which are out in the street where people will get a sense of your message there at face value. So that's like demos, protest vigils, outreach, earthlings experience, street interviews. Then more of the subtle everyday ones, just be general conversation as and when it comes up. Wearing a t-shirt, showing art that promotes the message, stickering, leafleting, chalking. These are all ones which they're not maybe going to be as direct, but they will plant the seed and people can maybe take it on their own terms, and they can kind of receive information on their own terms. And then you've got the more remote online ones, which are like a more digital version of being direct, so like campaigns, petitions, sharing videos, photos or articles, blogs, or even YouTube is a good way of incorporating everything that happens in real life to a larger audience online. But the important thing is how we channel that anger, frustration through our activism and how it comes out. And what tends to happen as well, again, because we have no guidance, is we tend to think, I want to let the people know who I deem responsible about this in the way I want to let them know. Let my frustration come out to them. And so we want to focus it at non-vegans because we see them as 100% responsible. But I have to wonder, like, do we know who we're targeting when we go to a non-vegan? I mean, here are some typical non-vegans. For those of you that came across it, that is me and my wife and my wedding day. 6 months before we went vegan. Now, I can tell you now, there is not much difference between that guy there and the one standing here. I would still hold the bouquet, maybe two. I'm barefoot now, like I am on the beach. So I know what it's like to be that non-vegan. Now, who here used to consume animal products before going vegan? Very much everyone. So you all know what it's like to be that non-vegan. So you have to then ask yourself, can you find that pre-vegan you in every other non-vegan out there? And then think, are they like how you used to be? Maybe just uneducated or unaware or completely apathetic, ignorant. And then ask yourself the most important question, were you doing it, were you consuming animal products because you were a pro-meat-eating, animal-hating, anti-vegan, or were you just doing it because that's what you were brought up to do, that's what you were conditioned to do, and that you believed it was normal and there was no harm done? Because a really good thing to look at is the responses we get from non-vegans when sometimes you question them. I mean, what is the number one food that gets said to vegans to wind them up? Bacon. What's the number one nutritional deficiency that apparently all vegans have? Oh, it has to be B12 in there. The protein, yeah. It tends to be protein. Yeah? Then we get stuff like plants have feelings, all of this stuff. When we really look at these words that are blurted out, protein, bacon, these are not constructive counter-arguments. And considering we know what it's like to be a non-vegan, we know we weren't given any information of why you can't be vegan, how to argue against vegans, the nutritional things you have to worry about. We were never given that information. So when people come back with this, we know that these are the results of conditioning, of brainwashing. And so you can remember how it was being that person, and you will know that you weren't doing it because of any reason other than you were conditioned to. So then we have to then think, do we target them with our blame? Are they 100% to blame? Are they 100% consciously aware of what they're doing? And what does it do if you do condemn them? If you do make them feel bad for doing something which they perceive as normal? Because when you condemn someone, what it tends to do, it puts you in a state of self-defense. Now think about it, when you weren't vegan, if someone came up to you and said, you're responsible for animals dying every day, you are contributing to murder, wouldn't it feel nice? I mean, I've even seen fruitarians condemn vegans because they're living off the land and they're living, you know, a more ethical lifestyle. And even as a vegan who I think, yeah, I'm making an ethical stance, I'm like, hey, what the sex shark, mate? Because you don't want to feel in that position. So what it does, it makes the person feel like they're being attacked, they're being a victim. And it disengages them from the validity of the vegan message. And all their concern is, oh, I've been made to feel this way, I don't want to feel this way. Vegans, they're the same. They're always shouting at me, they're always being mean. Good. But we don't want them to be concerned with themselves as a victim. We want them to be engaged and to be receptive to how we're trying to make them aware of how their choices affect other victims. So a big question might be then, is there one particular form of activism or way of spreading the vegan message that is the best? I don't know the answer to that. There's no statistical data to show it. But I'll give one example, because I think that most people can apply themselves to it, and you don't necessarily need a skill set. It has a really good effect as well. A real high rate of success. And that's the Earthling experience. Now, for those of you who don't know this will involve some individuals in a public place, mostly on a high street, holding laptops or tablets, showing the documentary of Earthlings. It's a graphic documentary showing all animal exploitation. Then there'll be other people with signs saying, please watch, or a graphic video. So the people doing that, they don't have to, if they haven't got the confidence to speak to people, they can just stand back. And then, if you want to remain anonymous and not be seen doing certain forms of activism, you can wear a mask. They all wear masks. It's not anything that can be imposing on people who walk by. So therefore, when people do walk by, they feel comfortable to stop and go, I'll have a look at this. And then what happens is, once they see that, it can't be unseen. That's in there. That information is already hidden. And then the next level to it is there are other people who do feel more confident, who will go up to them and talk to them about what they've seen, help them process it, give them information, give them facts, send them away with resources. And to everyone that I've been to, there are most people who will always say, I feel like making a change. Some even go away, and not only have they gone vegan, they come back and join the group the next week. So it's a real powerful one, but in general, I think we need all kinds of activism. I don't think 100% there's a right and wrong of the different types of activism that can be done. I mean, a good place to start really for some people, if it's new to you, is something that you're already good at, a skill set that you already have. I know some people, a mate of mine who did music, has been doing it for 4 years, went vegan 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden he was like, I'm going to start making vegan. And he didn't use the word vegan in it, he made music that was promoting animal equality and stuff like that, and he had such good feedback. I know someone else who was always into their art, but what they did instead was just start doing art exhibitions around the environment and animal agriculture. And again, it made a profound difference. So you can use that as a way to start, but again, you might have to cater it to your type of audience. So if they are someone who responds to food only, and make a song that's just about food, people have done that, it really works well. Or if there's someone who's an environmentalist, do some art that shows them just about the environment. There's all different ways. It might even be something which you don't even mean to be effective, but gets the results. Because that's what it's all about. It's about people going vegan. If you find something that gets them going vegan, no matter what it is, then stick to that. I know a friend of mine who would only work down the gym. Obviously, that's not his activism, going down the gym. That's what his routine is for fitness. But he would always wear a vegan vest or a t-shirt. And what would happen? People would come over and be like, he's in good shape, and he's down there a lot. And they'd ask questions, and he'd give them information. And he said he had so many people saying that they'd changed their diet because of it. So he's like, I'm going down the gym even more now. He realised where his success was and went for it. And next thing you know, he's got other people down there as well who've gone vegan wearing it as well, and they're working out together, and all of a sudden it's not just the one guy anymore, it's a group of people. I know someone who got loads of messages just from their Instagram pictures, just doing food pictures on their Instagram, and people have asked them so much, what is that food? Here's the recipe. They've gone and made it. I feel good. What is it about this? And it's ended up leading them onto a vegan journey. And these are the sorts of things which some people might actually consider not activism. But as far as I'm concerned, if it gets people going vegan, that's all that matters. Let's not worry about the in-between. If it's got the success rate, then we should stick to that. Because sometimes people have perceived, and I guess this is again where frustration creeps in, people have perceived that certain ways of promoting the vegan message aren't as good as others, and will insist that certain people do it this way. I've heard people saying you shouldn't be doing it this way, you should be doing it this way, stop wasting your time with that. And as a community heading towards a united goal, I can't feel that that's not helpful. I feel that we should be empowering each other. And we have to remember as well, just because one kind of activism works for you, doesn't mean it'll work for everyone. I'll give a good example. For those of you who know this guy, his name's Paul, he's on YouTube as Hench Herbivore. He's a bodybuilder, he's a personal trainer, he knows his nutrition, and for a lot of his clients, he does 2-week vegan challenges. Supports them, gives nutritional information, meal ideas, and he's had a lot of success with it. People have stayed vegan because of it. So of course he's found something which he can devote a lot of his time to. But if he came to me and said, stop doing what you're doing, you need to become a bodybuilder and go down the gym, he couldn't pick a worse example, do you know what I mean? I'd probably send people further away from me. So we have to understand these factors, that some things will work better for individuals in different situations. And we have to remember as well that just because we've gone vegan, our lifestyle and existing lifestyle doesn't change. All people, we all have full-time jobs, most of us. And that takes up 8 hours of our day, 5 or 6 days of our week, if you're lucky. And, you know, it might be a job which will very much not frown upon you doing certain types of activism. And therefore, you've got to have to weigh up, well, can I really endanger my employment, which is the roof over my head and the food in my mouth? And so therefore, doing stuff on your computer at work or at weekends in different environments might be the best thing that people can do. So for people who, like myself, you know, family man, my priority will always be looking after my kids, and whatever way I can still do that and promote the vegan message, I will do. And YouTube's been a really good outlet for that. I've actually had a lot of good response from the family-related videos. I've had people say my son, who's 5 years old, have inspired him to go vegan, and he just rambled rubbish, you know. Not condoning it. And then there's people who might be in full-time education, and they have to devote all their time to that. And again, the educational authority might frown upon them doing certain types of activism. And then there might be people who have all of that or none of that, and can devote all their time to any kind of activism, which is great. We need people in all different areas. I think what happens is that frustration makes us assume that people aren't doing as much as they could. I mean, my wife, for example, she doesn't say much on social media regards to this, but she does a complete number on the mums down the school and the people she works with. She's turned so many people vegan because of it, and no one would ever know that. And you know what? We would all love to work every single waking moment promoting the vegan message. But we have to get that balance as well. We don't want, you know, many people refer to this, we don't want to get burnt out. And it does happen. This is serious stuff that we're trying to get our heads around and promote and still function in our everyday lives. Because there are some people, and I'll give this example, Emily from Bite Size Vegan, some of you may know her, she does a YouTube channel, really amazing educational YouTube channel, and I've become friends with her in the last few years, spent time with her in America, and I've seen firsthand how she'll be up at the crack of dawn, work all day, and then to bed late, and only have a few hours sleep. And she even said, it's not the most productive way of living. Because the last thing we want to do, especially for a lifestyle which is centered around the food we eat, we still want to look positive, healthy examples. We want people to look at us and go, wow, yeah, you're looking in good health. We don't want people to look at us and kind of go, they look tired, they look run down. Because I've heard even some people saying, oh, I feel that I've done so much, I'm suffering from anxiety or mental depression, and that's the last thing we want. We want to be in a healthy mode that we can still promote the vegan message effectively. And so it's important that we come together, that we respect each other's efforts. Because I feel that what's slowly started to creep in, maybe from a few, is that where there are differences of opinions and where frustration is getting the better of us to each other, that you're starting to get little factions of different types of vegan groups popping up. And I think we're 1 or 2% in the world, and it's crazy that we're breaking up this 1 or 2%. I mean, shouldn't we all be united together? Because the last thing we want is a group that says, oh yeah, this type of vegan that does this type of activism or this specific diet. We want it as clear for everyone to see. And I admit, there could be potentially people within the vegan community that maybe could be considered detrimental to the movement. But I always feel this, is that if someone who is vegan, already living the lifestyle, are they, even if they're detrimental to the movement by some sort of behaviour, are they doing as much damage as someone who's still consuming animal products? And therefore, our energy that we want to devote to them, could it not be put to inspiring someone to become vegan? We don't want to get into wasting our time on oh, this vegan against this vegan. We should be looking at each other and realising that we've got the baseline ethical lifestyle in. And then when the whole world is vegan, we'll then focus on all of the other stuff. Now, I realise that talking about this, I don't mean to give it too much attention, because it's more of the case that it's only a small amount of this community. But I feel, like I said earlier, it gets a lot of attention from the people who are already, who are non-vegan. So a big question might be then, what is the best way to spread it? Is there a best way? Now, I feel that this quote from James Aspect, well, I don't think it's from him, he used it in his speech, but he said it came from someone else. I think this really hits the nail on the head. And it is, speak up for the animals the way you would want to be spoken for if it was you in their situation. And I think that's on point if you really, really analyse that. But I think we have to be really clever and strategic with how we interpret that. And what I mean by this is, if you took that literally and you were driven on that passion to change everything, it'd be like going out and screaming to everyone, stop consuming animal products. Animals are in cages, we need to get them out. Because of how people have been conditioned so hard, they wouldn't respond. If not, we'd have the world vegan overnight. So we have to think about how we really get to them, what steps, what process we have to send them through to get them going vegan. And I truly believe that the best, most strategic way to do that is through positive reinforcement and empowerment. Now let me just explain this a bit more. So, if you think about what we tend to fall in the trap of, we fall into the trap of focusing on what people aren't doing. We focus on the lack, whereas I feel that we should be empowering what they are doing. And I'll give you an example of how this works. I've noticed over the last 1.5 to 2 years, being at festivals and different events, speak to a lot of vegetarians. And I used to be one of these people that would condemn someone for being vegetarian and say, why are they only vegetarian? Why aren't they vegan? Similar to the fruitarian to the vegan. And when I first spoke to a vegetarian a few years ago, I did a kind of mental survey there and then did it for every vegetarian after that. And the one question I always asked them to start off with, and the same answer they gave me every time, I said to them, why did you go vegetarian? Every single person said, well, I just knew that to get meat, an animal has to die. And I wasn't happy with contributing to that. I'd be like, so what about milk and eggs? They go, well, that comes externally out there, and also no harm done. I'm like, right. So they're still conditioned to believe what we've all been made to believe, but they still made a conscious decision against that. And I was like, fair play. I didn't do that. I knew about meat, let's be fair, and I carried on. I needed a video to snap me out of it to go vegan, and I know most people do have that as well. There's nothing wrong with that, but then I chose to take a different view on it and empower what they were doing. And I noticed a substantial change every single time. And when I turned around and said, that's great that you made that conscious decision just to not consume meat just based on that knowledge. I can never do that. So immediately, as soon as you empower someone, it gets them feeling, oh, thanks. And they're immediately receptive and engaged with what you have to say. They are not disengaged, they do not feel uncomfortable. So then when I carry on, I use the fact that they have made it clear they're doing something for ethical reasons, I use that to my advantage. And I say, well, as you're doing this for ethical reasons, I think you should know this about dairy and this about eggs. And I give them some facts. And I keep reiterating because, you said you want to do this for ethical reasons, so I feel it's my duty, like I'm doing you a favour, to let you know about this. And then immediately they're receptive, like, thanks so much. Oh my God, I had no idea. And I even it's almost like network marketing. I just kind of go, give me your name, let me send you this video. And I have contact with them, and a lot of people came back and were like, I could not believe it was this bad. Oh yeah, thank you so much, I'm changing. And it happened so much. And then I realised that most people, whether they are vegetarian, pescatarian, or consuming animal products completely, everyone has some good inside them that we can tap into. When you think about people who will consume animal products, still go out and protest abuse to dogs, or dolphins, or people who go out and protest social injustices. We can use that to our advantage, use the fact that they care about something, that they are protesting, speaking out against some form of injustice, and empower it. Because then what happens as well, beyond getting them receptive to our message to then receive information, we then change the stereotype of the vegan that they've just seen.
If you think about those words we had earlier, imagine the words with this instead. Imagine people said, everyone I meet is always so positive and vibrant and so healthy, all of them. Yeah, and do you know what, they're really considerate and enthusiastic. Do you know what, happy and inspiring. You'd be creating a persona and an example that they would aspire to be. And you'd make it hard for them to say, oh, why shouldn't I be like that? They look like they're buzzing. That's what we want, not that I didn't like that. That's the but of course we want them to see us like that. We want to be an inspiring example for them to be receptive to. And then beyond that, as a community, we can be really smart with how we share information about veganism. And I'll give you an example. So 2 stories here, one on the left. Vegan diets for children aren't abusive. Raising a child to eat meat is actually more extreme. I think we all agree, without actually being biased, that is quite reflective because we know both sides. One on the other side, an Italian baby raised on a vegan diet is hospitalised for severe malnutrition and removed from parents. So we know that's a true story, but it comes with an agenda to make people think a certain way. And so this story over on the right, it appeals to what people already think. Most people, it'll be reaffirming what they think already, like, yeah, didn't think you could raise kids on a vegan diet, yeah, always thought it was dangerous. So of course it's just cementing that. Then there may be people who are interested in food or diet-related stuff, and they'll share that around. Then there'll be people who are just anti-vegan and want to wind some up, they'll share it around. But what tends to happen as well is we see that and we go, God, this propaganda, we share it. Have you seen this? Have you seen it? And it gets shared by vegans going, what a load of rubbish. And I think we need to shut that down. Don't give it any attention. No, don't give this negative stuff any sort of energy. Because the people who write that article will go, this is getting shared around a lot. People like this stuff. This is what we'll keep giving them. In my opinion, we need to shut that stuff down. If anything, we can get on a private forum and talk amongst ourselves and go, right, okay, how do we counter this? How do we put out 2 or 3 things that completely shut it down, that show the truth? Share this stuff around like that's all people hear. Because then what happens if this is the sort of stuff that's been shared around, it will change people's view on veganism. Imagine of all of those stereotypes that people say, oh yeah, vegans don't get enough protein, all of that rubbish. Imagine that we had shared all of this stuff and only this stuff to the extent that that's all people knew. People were saying, oh yeah, vegans get more than enough protein. They don't even know how they know it, it's just what's gone around so much. Or vegans eat a plant-based bacon alternative which is healthier and tastier. Imagine that was a knowledge. Or plants don't even have a nervous system to process pain. This sort of information, through these stories, articles, whatever, we should share like nothing else. Ignore the negative, don't give it any attention. And then what happens is you can effectively, potentially, recondition everyone back, reset them to what is the truth. And that's what we want. We want people to perceive veganism with the truth, not the agenda and with the conditioning that society has put upon them. So I realise I talk about positive reinforcement or empowerment so enthusiastically. It's because I truly believe in how it works. I've seen how it works in my life. I've seen how it works with other people. And a lot of people then may ask, will this work for everyone? And I'm not going to lie to you, no, it won't work for everyone. But I'm talking about a majority of humans on this planet. I think there's a good 70% who have that innate compassion and that logical mind that we can tap into. Then maybe there is around about 20% who they're so apathetic that they just can't entertain even the idea of it. However, when the world starts going vegan, they start going, oh, well, I don't want to be left out like the weirdo, I want to go with the trend. Or they follow just because that's the collective consciousness. So effectively, they're the 100 Muslims. If you know about that, you have to look up. And then maybe there's a 10% who are so far gone, so disengaged, it's not worth your time. Now, that could be that that's just been the way they're brought up, and they are the sort of people that go, I hope animals die. I really hope animals die. In my opinion, I think don't waste your time with them. But be careful. Are they being like that because some vegan somewhere has been angry to them and put them off? Because I've done that to people in my life. I haven't sent them quite that far, but I've put them off it because of my attitude, my representation of veganism. And don't get me wrong, I stand up here, when I talk about people who get angry or frustrated, that is not me condemning, because that'd be hypocritical for me to condemn people that condemn. Because I know what it's like, and I'm sure many of you know what it's like when you have to try and exist in this world with this knowledge that this is going on all the time. It's crazy. It's crazy that this is going on and we have to function still in our lives. And so I know how it feels to have that frustration, that anger, to want to unleash on everyone, your friends and your family, especially when you're sat around dinner and it's like having a cat or dog on your plate and they don't see that. It's heartbreaking. And of course you want to unleash that. All I'm saying is that I think we can do better and channel that into something positive. Because when you really look at this, you look at this on a world scale, the population of this planet, and they say there's something like 70 million vegans, probably more than that. And you think, the way that it's all set up to do a number on everyone, to condition them, that they don't even know that they're contributing to animal exploitation and death. And the fact that there are a select few who have either been shown or given the gift to snap out of it, then that makes us truly special and hugely important. Make no mistake about that. We've been given this gift of knowledge, and I feel that considering what it involves, we've got a huge important responsibility to do its service. To do its service for the animals, to do its service for this entire planet, to do its service for ourselves and every other being and their health. So I really feel that the way forward is to go out and inspire people. Go out and be that positive example, that they have no excuse to say, I can't be vegan because we've got all the information to argue them down, we just need to work on the way we represent it. And doing it together, united, for one united goal, not worrying about all of the other stuff, coming together for one united goal, representing veganism in the most positive way. And I feel that we'll make a substantial change in no time. Right, to round things up, a little swig, I'm drying out here. I've got a little spoken word piece to finish off things. Now this is something that's not even displayed. No. And yeah, spoken word has been something which has really, I found, has become really effective with how people have just been really receptive to it. So just like any forms of activism, if I found it's had a good rate of success, then of course it's going to be something I'm going to continue with. And I wrote this piece very much elaborating on what I talked about today, about the importance of a united community and knowing our worth and our importance as well. And to really kind of inspire people to do the best they can. So it's called community. I stand here before you asking you to come and unite and make veganism a powerful beacon of light. I plead for you all to say, come unity, and unite as one beautiful community. Community. This feeling of togetherness shouldn't be new to me, but the uncertainty of this is still plaguing some. But we should put that to the side and come together as one. Because a collective of others can be a powerful force, and to mix and to mingle is something we all endorse. And the joy of unity is something that's natural to feel, because being involved together is what we yearn for real. But first, let's take it back to a time when you discovered the gift that is veganism, and the truth was uncovered. So much power in this truth. You of course felt compelled to share, but when you tell your friends and family, they simply don't care. And so you reach out further, and eventually you find another living and breathing vegan whose thinking is aligned. There's a simple and immediate connection, no need to break any ice, as your united ethical stance already confirms that you're both nice. And the overwhelming excitement that you've realised there are others, after you worried you were all alone, but now you've gained a new sister or brother. You two vegans become more, the foundations of a community are laid, and before you know it, a nice little V-gang is being made. And there is a buzz in the air, as this lifestyle has given you all of the things you couldn't foresee. Acceptance, love, trust, hope, joy, friendship, and a new family. And the beauty is, We are all different, all unique personalities. We come in all different sizes, shapes, colours, ages, with different backgrounds and nationalities. You realise the barriers that separated you from others were just built up from your fear. But in this community, the barriers don't just go down, but they completely disappear as you have reset yourself to your human nature and our instinctive intuition is your guide. And although we all wear different war paint, we are all compassionate warriors on the same side. And the great thing is, this is only growing and growing. On the up is the only way that this movement is going. But that's only if we see that all of our energy must be focused 100% with positivity. Because negativity and fear are only going to breed an attitude and direction that we really don't need. Because cracks can appear in even the strongest of walls. And if the foundation crumbles, it could all definitely fall. We're a passionate bunch. So of course emotions are going to run high. We all have different ideas that sometimes others will defy. It's because it's important to us. It invokes emotions some of us have never felt before. We all so desperately want change, and so we want to be sure that every other brother and sister is only focused on what we see as a priority. But we need to step back and realise that not one of us is the vegan authority. Because clashing with each other and falling out and causing infighting wars is all pointless when we realise that we're all fighting the same cause. And it can only weaken this community if we break up into different sections. Because a movement is a lot less effective if we're moving in different directions. So let's refocus this passion and energy and take veganism higher. And don't let that water of passion you have boil over and put out the fire. Remember what it was that inspired you to choose to be vegan. Why you felt it was so important. What was that vital reason? You wanted animals to be free. You wanted the planet to stay alive. You wanted to live healthily and every single one of us to thrive. But remember when you first spoke out on the first vegan thing that you shared, you had stepped out into the world and you had proudly declared that you want there to be change and you want the truth to be known. So remember, there are others that want the same, and that we should not moan because being our own worst enemy is what could damage veganism the most. So instead, have understanding and tolerance for every different approach. Extend that recognition of equality to each other. Embrace it, but just resist the temptation to condemn another vegan, especially while meat eating still exists. Instead, we should unite together with love, because that is the most powerful way to go. Because the love-fueled desire to fight injustice will overpower any ego, as together we make more of a difference with our message being amplified. And with one united voice of compassion, we will not be denied. I mean, just look at the progress that's been made already, and look how much this movement has grown. Only 1% of vegans in the entire world, but yet somehow we make ourselves known. And the world doesn't even know how to deal with us. We are a group like they have never seen, because we bring truth, logic, we destroy all other arguments, and we are stocked full of protein. The only way that we should be mentioning veganism is in a positive way. Those negative stories against it, don't even give them the time of day. Just see them as a sign that we are doing the industry some damage, and them lying about veganism is the only way that they can manage. Because when we are positive, and we avoid the condemnation of those that aren't even vegan, we ensure positive association. And we destroy the negative and create a new feel-good high and change the public perspective to a positive vegan stereotype. And then veganism being shown in a positive light is all they will ever know. And those militant, extremist, angry stereotypes will ever so slowly go. In fact, most people will see us and have no option but to agree that it's completely right to be living vegan in this world. So I ask you with love, come and unite. And I hope that there comes a time in our lives where all of us will be seeing a world that doesn't even need community, because we're just a collective of humans that are just being. A time when the word vegan doesn't even exist, because not eating animal products will be the norm. And the existence of this peaceful world will be because of the community that we now form. So be conscious of your contribution. Become that example of positivity. Don't give anyone any excuses. Just be the change that you want to see. Most people just see us and just think we're a group obsessed with fruit and veg. But when it comes to saving and changing this planet, we are the leading edge. Q&A or anything happen, we're open.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for that. We've probably got time. Well, you're going to stay around at the end. We're going to have a Q&A at the end, aren't you?
Okay, got the panel.
Yeah, the panel thing. So, unless we've got any burning questions, come back at 4:30.
There's a burning one.
Is there a burning one there? Casey.
There's always one, isn't there? It's not bad at all, honestly. You're brilliant. I love you. I'll have your phone number later.
Not
Married. No, it doesn't matter. Now, a lady yesterday opened my eyes, and you were talking about positivity. This is important, guys. Don't leave until I spoke. Every one of us has got a Facebook account, yeah? Pretty much, yeah? How many of your friends that you had on there before you went vegan actually like what you say or comment on what you say? No. Not many. Right. We've all got to friend each other. And every time we mention something that's positive about us, like it, comment, carry on, support each other.
Thanks very much. So Damien Clarkson will be speaking about 2:30, just over 10 minutes. Thanks a lot.
I spoke to him briefly, so I got the I didn't know it was him.